Davengers. West Coast Davengers. Ah! Ah! Good evening, everybody. It's your friend Dave. You remember me? I was the guy that's hosting the show. Oh, wait, the show's live. Okay, I am Dave. Hi. Oh, welcome to another SunDAVE sit down. Lots to talk about tonight. You might have heard, all one of you in the chat, I announced the official gathering of the Davengers, aka Davenger Con. I'm never going to call it Gathering of the Davengers just because I don't want to ever be kind of mixed up with the Juggalo thing, you know? Um, so yeah, that's a big thing that we're going to talk about tonight. I hope everybody's having a fantastic weekend. I hope everybody is ready to, talk about comics, talk about the Avenger Con. Tell me how good, how much fun you had watching Ethan HD talk about comics and wrestling this morning, because that was my favorite episode that I dropped. Like, hands down, I've been doing this for a little over a year, about a year and a half. And this morning's episode was my favorite so far. And yes, I am wearing a Shrek shirt. So if you have anything bad to say about Shrek, Shrek is love. Shrek is life. Brady, good evening, Brady, my friend, my flesh. Ryan, good evening to you too, my friend, not my flesh. So yeah, I don't know if anybody in here was at C2E2 or MegaCon, but two large Comic Cons happening in two different parts of the country this weekend. MegaCon being in Orlando, I believe, and C2E2 in Chicago. I have worked at both of those actually. C2E2 once and MegaCon once. Jerome Hernandez, woo! And happy WrestleMania weekend to anybody that is WrestleMania weekending. I don't know why I'm doing this. This some type of WrestleMania bow. So let's jump into it, okay? I'm here by myself. I don't have a co-host. I'm starting to think maybe Sunday I should have a co-host, but my favorite co-host can't be here today. So that's okay. What's up, Doom? Doom card. Okay, so I want to try something real quick. My good friend Bryce from Done Messed Up, he's a one-man band. He wrote the theme song to the West Coast Avengers, and he emailed me today the official SunDAVE sit down theme song. I'm gonna play it on my iTunes. If you guys can hear it, then you can hear it. If you can't, well, you're gonna have to wait until it's part of the show. But it's real quick. Here we go. Play song. All right, I don't know if y'all could hear that, but that is the official going forward. Once I design some, logo stuff here and there, that is the official SunDAVE sit down theme song. Big B McFly, the comic guy, in the house. What's up, my Pacific Northwestern neighbor? Okay, so can't hear it. Okay, all right, Brady. Then you guys just stared at me doing this at the screen for 16 seconds. I'll have to be able to play it some. I don't think I can video file extra camera. No, it's not a video file, so oh well. We'll get it in next week. Okay, so Davenger Con. Mark your calendars. Do this. Get your pen, stick it in your eye hole, and go. April 22nd and 23rd is Davenger Con. Now, what's Davenger Con, you ask? Well, clearly it's me as a Comic Con. I'm going to be hosting 2 days of guests and sellers on this channel, and we're going to be doing it. It'll be like an all day claim sale with a lot of other elements to it. Okay, so I've already got everything locked in. I've got my guest list. I've got my schedule. I think everybody has confirmed in one way or another. Um, so it's going to be 2 days of claim sales with all my favorite sellers and some people that you've probably never seen on this channel before, and some friends uh, that you have seen on the channel. For instance, I'm going to have Manu, the 9.9 newsstand, and Justin Spidey Hits are both going to be on. They're going to have some stuff for sale, and we're going to sit and chat. So think of it like parts of it are going to be like an all-day SunDAVE sit down where some people have like 10 or 15 items to sell, and then there's going to be times where it's me and Maddie doing our dual claim sale, or me and East Bay and JD, with our full walls of books. And then we're going to have a couple of stores doing some claim sales too. Bronze Age Batcave will be back. And Ethan from Destiny City is going to also be taking part of the sale. And some of these stores have more than just comics. Like Ethan's got a whole wall of wrestling figures. He's got all different types of comic book based figures too, graphic novels, trade paperbacks, single issues, all that stuff. And I have confirmed. Well, okay, I have definite confirmed from one guest who's going to be. We haven't decided what it's going to be yet, but my buddy Joe Benitez is going to be back on, and he's going to be here. He might do some live sketching. We might have some sketches for sale. But if you don't know Joe, Joe created the character Lady Mechanica, which, I mean, it's the first steampunk comic that I know of that was actually steampunk. So Lady Mechanica he created. He also he created Wraithborn, or co-created Wraithborn, and he was top cow guy with Silvestri and Turner and all those guys in the 90s into the 2000s. So Joe's going to be here on Saturday. Now, I reached out to somebody that I'm a fan of, and somebody that was on my list, and it's not Todd, but somebody that was on my list to get on the show this year. And hold on. We have Grit City Rust in the house, and Josh will be part of Davenger Con. Josh is going to be bringing. Josh is kind of like an all vintage guy, but he'll bring shirts, like t-shirts, vintage shirts, comics, toys. He's big into comics and comic stuff, so it's going to be very comic centric with him. But he also has music shirts and maybe some wrestling stuff. So Josh is going to be part of Davenger Con, and me and Josh know each other. He lives in my neck of the woods, so I'm excited to have him on the channel for the first time. Senny said I drove Joe to the airport after New York City Comic Con one year. Dude, Joe's a great guy, and I'm really excited to have him on the program again. And if you haven't seen, he was on an early episode of SunDAVE Sitdown, and he told some really great stories about being there at the beginning of Top Cow and how he got into the business, and just some great stories overall. And this is not gonna be the last time he's on for Davenger Con. When his schedule permits, we'll get him back on again after that. My brother. Yeah, Joe's a great guy. I've known Joe for about a decade now. So without saying the other guest, because it's like it's confirmed but not 100% confirmed. I'm just gonna grab this freebie that I'm giving out, and maybe you guys can figure out who the other guest might be if I'm just kind of moving this way. And okay, all right, so uh 20 people come in the room. I'm going to give this Joker, Brian Azzarello hardcover away tonight. This is a great story. If you've never read it, it goes hand in hand with Heath Ledger's Joker, and it's illustrated by Lee Bermejo. So powerhouse team and a fantastic book. If you've never read it, give that away in a little while. So yes. So who else is going to be joining? First time sellers on my channel. Zach from Grails is going to be popping in to sell a couple of books during Davenger Con. Zach hosted both of my Grail shows, so I want to return the favor. And I told you JD and East Bay will both be here. Angel will be here both days because it's a proper thing to do for your homie, your sister in Moses. Maddie. So I know for sure Maddie's going to be closing out the end of the day on Sunday for sales, and Angel's going to be closing out the end of the day Saturday night for sales. And one of the big parts of this con, it's not just it's not just me selling books. That's kind of like the third priority, honestly. Uh, First priority is kind of just to bring this all together. Not all of us have access to Comic Cons or want to go to a Comic Con. And, you know, I've been to plenty throughout the 25 years I've been buying and collecting books, but I also worked a handful over those 20 years, actually more than that. Worked Emerald City Comic Con like 5 times. But I want to be able to promote some of my friends as sellers. Like that's what it's all about. Like I have this channel and I want to be able to bring you guys some great sellers with some other great books. But it's what's up, Daryl? Read your comics in the house. Um, Not all of us have the desire to go to a Comic Con, especially the really large ones. Some of us don't have access to them around the country. I live in a place where there's Emerald City Comic Con, Rose City Comic Con, and a bunch of local Comic Cons. But for the people that live in like Eastern Washington, there's only a couple. And also, there's something about a Comic Con, and look, I went, and this kind of ties into something that I did this weekend. I went to the Washington State Toy Fair Toy Convention. It's like 20 miles from me at most. And I went to go dig for comics. It's a fun little, actually, it's not even little, but it's a fun convention. But when you do a convention, you have to spend money for the table. You have to spend money for food that's going to be overpriced. You have to spend money for transportation. So there's already costs that go into it as a vendor, and as a buyer or a convention goer, you got to buy a pass, whether it's a 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, whatever. But I see that you have to some no, you don't have to. I shouldn't say that. Most people raise their prices on their books for a convention to offset the fact that they're paying to be there. Now, I did a convention last year that was a 1 day convention in Tacoma. Cost me, I think, $200 all in. All in. Supplies, all that, maybe 250. I priced my books exactly how I would price them at a claim sale because I knew they would sell. I priced my books to move. You go to a lot of these big conventions and everybody's prices are up. The bigger the convention, the higher the prices are going to be because of the amount of money they pay to go into that convention. So what I want to do is I want to have a convention where people don't have to raise their prices. Sure, you're paying for shipping, but honestly, like after 2 books, you're really not going to spend that much on shipping. And even at 2 books, you're not spending much on shipping. We keep our shipping prices down. But it gives me a chance to highlight people who are doing this, whether it's full time or from just as a hobby. Um, I get to highlight some stores. So Bronze Age Batcave will get like I said, and Destiny City will be back. Will be on here. I got some people that just they do it, and I wanted to bring them on for this. I think it's a great way to help strengthen the actual community that I'm building. Now, I'm gonna take a piece of my former professional career in fundraising and event planning, and I'm going to throw it into this in another way. I am going to be holding a raffle. Um, it's going to be supporting 2 charities, and I'm going to split the proceeds straight in half. So if I sell $1,000 in raffle tickets, 500 and 500, not taking any money for myself. And the two charities that I am going to be raising money for, one is super close to me. It's called Make Tiny Changes, and it is a charity that was started in the memory of my friend Scott Hutchison. who and fully transparent. This is a charity that exists in Scotland, but it is a personal thing for me. Scott was the lead singer of a band called Frightened Rabbit, and he took his own life a few years ago. I think it's 5 now. And um, Make Tiny Changes was started in the memory of him by his family and his friends to help young people deal with mental health crisis, and any type of mental health um, problems, and also in like the way that they work. They work on giving grants and support people who are encouraging young people in Scotland to kind of follow their creative ideas and get the mental help that they need, because we're in a place these days where mental health is being talked about more and more and more. Even when I was young, it wasn't really talked about, and then obviously you go back and my parents and stuff, that shit was like it wasn't existent. So this charity was started in his memory, and it's just something like when Scott was still alive, we used to I used to do some fundraising with them, and they had a charity that they supported, um, and so it's kind of like this line of succession. Now I'm going to be supporting the charity that was started in his memory, and then the other charity, the other half of the money for the raffle is going to go to, and I'm looking at what I had to write this down because it's a lot of words. The Laidler Music Money Scholarship Foundation. So Bryce, who did my theme song, he started a scholarship foundation at his daughter's high school, Salem Hills High School in Salem, Utah. And basically, what it does is they give grants and scholarships to kids graduating, going into music programs. So, you know, I can't think of something better than supporting the arts in this world. Like, there are plenty of diseases like put money towards, but there is millions of dollars. And I worked in the fundraising industry for years, and there's millions of dollars that goes there. So like supporting the arts is so important. We're all patrons of the arts. We are all here under the guise of literal art, comic books. Um, so these two charities that I want to support, going to do a raffle. I'm donating 3 things, and I've only picked out 2. Um, these tickets, these raffle tickets are going to be $20 each, but I'm going to do 5 for 80. And the reason why is every item in there is going to be worth over $100. I'm donating a print that is signed by who the hell is it? It's signed by Steve Epting, Stan Lee, and I forget who the third person is. I could go get it, but I'm going to be donating some big items. A couple of friends are going to be donating some items to me for the raffle, and we'll have the raffle tickets available all weekend for the con, and then I'll draw the raffle winners on SunDAVE Sitdown immediately after me and Maddie finish our closing out claim sale. So if you do want to donate something to the raffle, get in touch with me. And if I'll even pay for shipping if you want. I just want to get it here before the raffle so we can highlight all the things before the con. So I'm really excited for this. Like, I come from an event planning background professionally, and so this is just for me where I am right now with this channel and everything. This is a natural progression for me to start this con. Um, I've thought about it for a while, and to be fully honest with everybody that's in here, Comics Limited, what's going on? Sorry I didn't see you. Thank you. And don't forget to smash the like. Uh, I watch a lot of claim sales. I watch a lot of claim sales across different platforms, Facebook and YouTube and Instagram, and I watch Whatnot every once in a while just to see the the fuckery that's going on there with legalized gambling or illegal gambling. Um, but I just I don't see anybody doing it right. I don't see people that have these like multi-person claim sales. I don't see anybody doing it where like if you can't keep me engaged, why am I going to sit in there and while you cycle through 4 books over 2 hours and like your camera angle's crap, your lights crap, all that's crap. And so, a little chip on my shoulder, but I was like, I can do this. And if I can't, it'll be a one and done Davenger con. But I know I can. I know I can get some interesting people on here. I know we can have some great discussion, sell some great things at great prices, give away some stuff, and then, do the raffle. And I think it's going to go smoothly. I hope it's going to go smoothly. I will probably be brain dead by the end of Sunday. So SunDAVE sit down is just going to be me pulling raffle tickets and drooling all over myself. But that's also entertaining, isn't it? Um, so, uh, right, guests and raffles, and I hope. Look, I'm hopefully I'm not jinxing myself, but the other guest that agreed to be on here is Mr. Hulk Grand Design himself, Jim Rugg, and not only is he the Hulk Grand Design genius, Street Angel, Deadliest Girl Alive, and I forget. Damn it, I forgot the name of the other book that he does with Cecil Castellucci. Uh, but he is half of the team of Cartoonist Kayfabe, the greatest comics podcast of all time, and a huge source of inspiration for me, not just this show, but a huge source of inspiration for me in what I've read over the last 2.5 years and how I look at comics and the comics that I choose to want to read. Um, so Jim agreed to be on. I still have to work out the time with him. I actually finished the schedule today, so hopefully it works out with him. But yeah, that's huge, Daryl. That is huge, and thank you, Comics Limited. That those causes are near and dear to my heart. Yeah, Daryl. I emailed him, and I basically I was like, look, my YouTube channel's not no bullshit with top 10 and hot books and all that crap. Like, this is a pure love of comics and selling comics, but a pure love for comics channel. And I hope that spoke to him, unless he watched a couple of my videos and then he's gonna be like, you know. But hey, Tyler, what's going on? No, man, it's okay. I gave the rundown of the con, and I announced that Jim Rugg and Joe Benitez are going to be my guests during the con. Um, so I'm looking forward to having a good conversation with Jim. I think there's a lot to talk about with him, and I hope I could get to at least half of it. You know, so Jim is a big wrestling fan, and wrestling's been a part of my life for a long time. And I actually want to send a link to the video that I dropped today to Jim, because obviously it's heavy wrestling centric. But I want to learn about him and his inspiration, and I've got some questions to ask. But then I want to talk to him about kayfabe, because cartoonist kayfabe is truly like, when it shakes out in wherever we are in the next decade, cartoonist kayfabe is going to be the source, like the source of anything you want to know about on the record. I mean, they've had some of the greatest comics interviews in just the last 6 months. They've had Eastman and Laird on multiple times. They had Rob Liefeld on this weekend, Brian Bolland, Dennis Kitchen. But they've done interviews with everybody. So if you're not familiar with Cartoonist Kayfabe, please go subscribe to their channel, because their channel is the comics channel. So that's right. So, and then, Joe Benitez, I shot a couple other emails out to some people that never got back to me, but that doesn't mean they won't. But might have to be like, well, I'll tape an interview with you. Imagine telling Stephen Platt, like, nah, we can't have you on live. I'll just tape an interview with you. Um, so yeah, so I'm really excited for Davenger Con. I put together some new merch, I guess you want to call it. There's going to be a sticker pack, 5 stickers. Um, they are here already. Actually, they're in a box over there, but I'm going to preview those later on. Everybody who buys something at the con is going to get a Davenger Con sticker, and the logo, which was designed by Mr. fucking Davenger Design, Joe Scar. Joe has done everything, my thumbnails. He's done everything that's come from this brain. He's executed. Um, and then I'm maybe doing shirts. I have 2 prototype shirts on the way to me. If I like them, we're gonna have some limited shirts, and something else, but we won't talk about that yet. If you aren't familiar with kayfabe, do you even comic, bro? Exactly. Yeah, yeah. And look, not everybody watches a ton of YouTube. I didn't used to watch, believe it or not, 3.5, 4, basically pre-pandemic, I was not watching YouTube on the regs. Um, I was not watching YouTube on the regs, but the pandemic definitely helped me turn to more of that because there's just a lot of time and nothing on. Even after, like, I would get up in the morning and watch kayfabe before I went to work during the pandemic. So, um, but you got to watch it. You can even listen to their interviews too. Thank you, Big B. I'm really excited for it. So hopefully everybody can show up that weekend. It's going to be a blast. And yeah, I'm excited to unveil some other fun little things for it. Oh god, yeah, Jay, those Eastman and Laird interviews were something else. Just like, we in the last 20 years, like, or 15 years, like, we all knew, or knew about that they weren't really on speaking terms, Eastman and Laird, and they did finally patch things up. But like, watching Ed and Jim talk to them and go through, they did the first 5 issues of Turtles. It was such a treat. Like, Eastman and Laird, you could tell that they really cared about each other because they were deferring to each other about, like, giving credit, and like they were laughing with each other. It was just a lot of fun to watch. So yeah, I totally suggest those. And there's some great information in there about just the production of the first couple of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles issues, from a standpoint of, like, you realize some people have no clue about, like, how many copies of what existed. And when you hear Eastman and Laird talk about it, you're like, all right, well, there it is. Now you can comfortably say, like, there's X amount of thousand of these books that were printed, and some of them actually never got sold because they were so fucked up. Uh, well, Tyler, I appreciate that. Yeah, I'm just waiting to get the shirts. They should be here in a couple days, and then I'll order a bunch, and then, if they sell out, we'll do print to order or something like that. Um, still really excited for Sunday, for Davenger Con. We're on SunDAVE Sitdown right now. I did want to announce the official book for yeah, the Peter Laird interview itself, and then having them both was amazing. 100%. Um, yeah, so I want to announce the April book club, the Avenger book club, and this is one of the ones that I told everybody was eventually coming. We're getting to our first indie book, if you want to call it indie. But April's book club is going to be God Country, and I know Nick is going to be really excited about this. But if you've never read this, I only read it once. I bought it, I read it, I loved it. The reason why I'm picking it is because I'm ready for a reread on it, and not a reread Williams, but a reread. Uh, Donnie Cates, Jeff Shaw, they're a great team together. But this is Donnie Cates writing just a perfect cinematic story. And I know this got optioned, which is kind of a no-brainer. I don't know if they'll be able to pull it off. But if you've never read God Country, you can pick up the graphic novel, 17 bucks, Image Comics, and yeah, it's a finite story. So it goes through the 5 issues, and it's a one and done story. Great read, great art. And I won't even spoil what it's about, because somebody told me what it was about before I read it. And when you tell somebody what this is about, it doesn't sell it. You have to read it. So yeah, yeah. You just have to read it. But it is Donnie Cates, and yeah, yeah, exactly. Brady, I know it. I know it. I know it. Nick recommended it to you. Yeah, that makes sense. What's up, John? Yeah, yeah. So this is going to be April's book club. Uh, it'll happen the last weekend of April. So the weekend after Davenger Con, we're going to be talking about this. So pick it up. Don't try, the single issues are kind of tough to find, a little expensive. So this is worth just picking up the graphic novel. Get it from your local comic book store. They should have it. Um, and if not, you can order it on Amazon. Um, yeah, yeah, totally. Nothing but good things, and I can't recommend it enough. Well, actually, I just recommended it enough. Yes, yes, Cates is great with his finite story. Look, I think, and I know he kind of got really burned out recently, and that's why I think he stepped away from Hulk. But to me, I remember saying like a year and a half ago, and I'll still stand. For writers that have come about in the last 10 years, Cates is number one. Cates is number one. I know, Tinian's probably right next to him, and then Snyder's been writing for 15, 20 years or so. We push him back a little bit, but Cates, between God Country and Silver Surfer Black and what he did on the Venom book, which I really loved everything he did on the Venom book. The Null stuff, but even the first arcs. Um, I really like his writing and crossover. If you've never read crossover, it's not for everybody, but it's hella meta, hella meta. Cates is the man. Sweet stuff. Yeah, pick it up. I've always found that limited issue stories and one shots almost always phenomenal. You know, and that's I never read Baby Teeth. I never read Baby Teeth and Redneck. Did he do Redneck, or am I thinking did Jason Aaron do Redneck? Yeah. I think no, I think Cates did Redneck. Um, so look, the good thing of limited series, the thing is ongoing books don't have that feeling of like closure. And man, we're all gonna die. We may not all reach closure, but we will reach closure. And I can't really invest myself in an ongoing book that has no end in sight. Even something like I just finished the second. I'm doing a reread of Invincible right now, and I just finished the second omnibus, and I'm excited to get to that home stretch because there is an end, and it's been so long that I've forgotten so much of it that it feels fresh again. But if Invincible was an ongoing book that never ended, I don't think I would have ever continued with it. And so yeah, I really like open close stories, but they can be long. I mean, Fables just came back, but Fables went, 100 and I think it was like 137 issues, 132 issues on its first run. Technically, the first story arc of Fables is the first 75 issues, and it's phenomenal. But if it never ended, I don't know if I would. It's hard for me to dedicate time to something that's still going. You know, um, so Baby Teeth, I do want to read that, and Vanish is one of the newer ones, right, Brady, or new-ish. Like Peter Parker started in the '60s and didn't conclude until what? Yeah, exactly. That's insane. I mean, the the thing about Spider-Man is if you want to read a great finite Spider-Man story, read Ultimate Spider-Man. Some of it's really bad and some of it's really good, but the Peter Parker story ends and then that's where Miles begins and I did this last year. I read all of Ultimate Spider-Man all the way to Secret Wars. So, it was wild. It made my brain hurt, but it also made my brain feel good. All right, we got 20 people in the room. 20 people in the room. I said I was going to give it away. We got a lot of show left, but let's do hashtag Joker. And I'm going to give away this Liber Brian Azzarello, Joker. This is a hardcover. This is a finite story. It goes hand in hand with Heath Ledger's Joker. And I know there's some inspiration behind Leto's Joker on this too. But let's give it away. And if I don't have your shipping address, just get in touch with me, and we'll do that. Oh, of course, Spidey's entering. He won last time I gave something away. Yes. I think if you're looking to reread something and it's something that's like you haven't read in 5 years, do it because it will refresh you. Especially something like Invincible, where like you can kind of remember the overarching the whole story, but like details, there's so much going on. And what Kirkman does in Invincible, and he does it so well, he leaves a plot thread dangling and you forget about it. And 30 issues later, he comes back to it like, and you're instantly like, oh shit, he just did that. All right, okay, so Vanish is on issue 7 right now. So hashtag Joker. I'm going to give away this Brian Azzarello, Lee Bermejo Joker. And if you've never read it before, then it'll be great for you. And if you have read it, it'll be great for you again. A pretty vicious Joker story. Yeah, I would put this in like the top 5 most vicious Joker stories. I love this book. So yeah, we got let's see, we got 21 people in the room, and we've got 12 people entered. Come on, hashtag Joker. There's still at least 10 of you that could enter, or 9. I can't count. Kirkman is great at long format stories. Yeah, he is. I will be honest, I never finished reading Walking Dead, but that's because after Glenn got fucking decimated, I was like, yeah, I'm done with it. Lava massage, baby teeth, purple umbrella. And then I never finished Outcast. I was kind of when I stopped collecting comic books about 15 issues into Outcast. I just kind of dropped all my new books. So I got to go back and reread that because I really enjoyed Outcast. And the show was great too. It had a good vibe to it. It just wasn't long for this world. Exactly. Always reread your book. It creates an amazing spark of joy. You know, I got a really, like, after rereading Weapon X last week, twice in 2 days, I got this huge, like, really jolt of joy, and I want to go back and start rereading Wolverine, the original series, probably to like issue 75, because after that it kind of gets really unintelligible and boring. But I do really want to get back into reading the original Wolverine series. Also, sometimes you see a story in completely different light when you're at a different point of life. 100%. Try reading the Brian K. Vaughan graphic novel Pride. I can't imagine what it's like to read it as a father because I don't have kids. But if you're a father or a cat or an animal lover, reread that book. You will cry. All right. Hashtag Joker. We'll do that drawing in just a second. Purple Umbrella, Lava Body Massage. Yeah, Outcast. So I really enjoyed the book. And like I said, I think I clocked out about 15 issues in just because I clocked out of all comics. But show was great too. All right. So we got some new friends in here. Destructive Collectors, Jesse Lynch. Nice to see you. We three. Yeah, we three pairs really well with Pride if you want to have yourself a lot of crying. And I'm not a big Graham Morrison fan. I actually don't like him that much, but We Three is his best work, in my opinion. Frank Quietly's best work, possibly, probably. Yeah. All right. How many people we got? We got 16 entries. How about we get 4 more? 4 more entries. Hashtag Joker. Just and then I'll do the giveaway and we'll keep talking. If you have any questions about Davenger Con, please feel free. I did announce this is the April book club book. So we're going to be looking at that the last Sunday in April, which is the 30th, which is the last day of the month. Hashtag Joker, give that away. I want to show you guys a couple of pickups, a couple of fun things I found in my house that I didn't know about. And I'll show you one of the most insane pieces of art ever. So you guys know the Alex Ross Timeless variants? Well, every once in a while I decide to draw something horribly because that's where my drawing skill lies. Now, this is a comic Timless variant of Venom. It's a Miss Terry Alex Ross 1 of 1. It's a Timless, so you can see it's not timeless. And there's Venom. This has already been promised to somebody, but maybe I'll do some more. Let me know what characters you want me to draw horribly. And no, I didn't have a 4-year-old draw this. No. All right. Look, 16 people want this book. We'll do the drawing in 20 seconds, and then we'll continue on with the show. But that's hashtag Joker if you want a free copy of Brian Azzarello and Lee Bermejo's Joker. All I'll need is for you to either get my email address is westcoastavengers@gmail.com. If I don't have your shipping address, if you never filled out a bidder form on my claim sales, I'm just going to need an address to ship that to. All right. You reread all of TMNT Volume 1 after? Wow. Dude, I am short 1 hardcover on that. I might have to just read the single issues. I like reading hardcovers. Uh, oh, thank you. Yeah, it's awesome if I was in jail and my name was John Wayne Gacy. It's Impressionist Venom. There you go. I don't have a high. I'm not high on my own art, but I sometimes get high and create art. All right, let's share the screen. Let's do the giveaway. We've got 16 people that want the Joker. Last chance. Otherwise, I'm going to draw it. It's hashtag Joker. 5, 4, 3, 2. All right, let's give it away. Who's going to win? Give it away, give it away, give it away now. Oh, Nick, you just Comics Limited. Comics Limited. Comics Limited. Congratulations, my friend. If you've never filled out one of my bidder forms on a Wednesday show, then just shoot me an email at westcoastavengers@gmail, or if you're on Instagram, you can just shoot me a message on Instagram. But do me a favor, screenshot this because I don't know you. I don't know you. I don't know you. So just so you could be like, hey, this was me. I won this. Blah blah blah. But thanks for entering. That was a fun little giveaway. So there you go. Let's do this. Let's. All right, cool. Comics Limited. I appreciate it. Yeah, just shoot me an email, and I will. I'll ship that out tomorrow because I have to do shipping every day anyway. So, all right. So there's your Timless variant. So let's take a look at a couple of fun little things that I found. Check this out. I've had this for a while because I'll buy wizards whenever and wherever I am and I find them. But I believe I got this. I don't remember where I got this, but it's the X-Men 30th anniversary issue. It's a newsstand, which is that's a sticker on the book inside the poly bag. But check this out. How many cards? There's supposed to be one card in here, and I believe there's 3 total in this poly bag. This is still sealed. It's 2 cards in there. Nope, there's a third one. I just can't. I don't want to. I don't want to finger it too hard. That's what she said. Oh no, there's only 2. Okay, so there's 2 cards in there. Check that out. Polybag newsstand. Oh, you're Big Beast, buddy. All right, cool comics. So yeah, 2 cards, newsstand, still sealed in the poly bag. Thought that was a little fun little relic to show off. DaveCon is not yet, but Nick, you are part of DaveCon, so thank you very much. Comics Limited, thank you. Big B, Big B turned me on to another channel called he's Comic Collector Geek. His name's Alan. He's a really nice Canadian dude, and I am going to be on his channel, and I think he said about 2 weeks, 3 weeks. He interviewed me the other day, last week, and so check out Comic Collector Geek. It's really funny because I'm me, really outgoing, super like and you know, Alan's just like, yeah, I'm not funny at all. I'm like, come on, everybody's funny. And then when he kept saying that, I kept laughing. So he is kind of funny, but he's a really interesting dude. He's got an amazing comic collection, really knowledgeable about Golden Age, but seems to kind of have that overlapping, everything, a little bit of everything type stuff. But yeah, Big B, I appreciate you, brother. Yes, once again, if you've not checked out my video this morning, let me give you a little rundown. So I did Destiny City Comics is a shop in Tacoma, which is where I live in Washington, south of Seattle by about 35 miles. And Destiny City Comics is owned by Ethan HD. He is a pro wrestler for, like a Pacific Northwestern pro wrestling circuit. SOS is his main circuit. So I went to his store. We did a little interview and talked about wrestling and comics and owning a comic store and being a pro wrestler, kind of like these 2 things that I have always loved, overlapping interest. And it opens up with a great bit. So check out Destiny City Comics on Instagram. He posts stuff every day. You can order and have them shipped to you. And check out my video that I dropped this morning. It was kind of a rough day, I got to admit. YouTube is a very unforgiving place, and trying to make videos that pop and thumbnails and titles. Thumbnails I don't have a problem with. I have Joe. I give him my ideas and a photo, and he does it. It's fucking amazing. But It's just it really hurts me, and it's not on anybody in this room, and I'm not complaining because people in this room are following me, but it's just like I put a lot into that video. I was really excited about it, and it just went like so. There still could be life in it, and I appreciate everybody that watched it. But I think one of the things that people don't realize is that commenting on a video or liking and commenting and sharing it really does help because the way that YouTube apparently works is like you have your subscriber circle, but like it will try it out in other different pieces of the algorithm depending on, let's say you watch wrestling videos and comics videos, and my video might show up on your feed. And depending on how that's received, then they spread it. But one of my favorite videos, if not my favorite video I've ever dropped. He does, yeah. Well, representation in comics, representation in general is a whole big conversation, but we could just dial it down to comics because it can be applied to anything else. Look, I don't know what it's like to grow up not white, and so or not a white straight male going to a comic book store and being, like loving superheroes. I don't know what it's like to be a young Latina female, as Ethan talked about in the video, walking into a comic store and want to be part of this greater thing that we love, which is comics, but wanting something that represents her or whoever it is. And Ethan talks about that. They came in. The mother asked if there was anything that would speak to a young Latina girl, and besides America Chavez, he's like, I'll have to do some research. And he found a book and bought it from an independent creator and put it in his store, and they came back and bought it. And so, when you talk about representation, especially in our circle of comics, if you're saying to yourself, well, it doesn't have anything to do with me, then step outside yourself and think about, we all have friends that are not us. And so think about in their shoes, what they would want. And one of the things that I cut out of the video that I think you guys have heard me talk about before, I'm not shy about talking about it, but one of the things about the Moon Knight series that really like hit home for me, and I'm not a religious person, but it focused on his Jewishness, and I'm Jewish, and it's not about his Jewishness, but it part of his life. It's part of who he is, so it becomes part of the story. And like, that was one of the reasons. And I was talking to Ethan about this. Is like one of the reasons why I love that series was because of that. Because in all of this fucking 30 years of comic book movies, going, like in my life, starting with or 35, starting with Superman all the way till fucking Ant-Man, there has not been any Jewish superhero that has been talking like that you can watch and be like, oh yeah, he's Jewish. Okay. Like it's never been part of it. And it doesn't have to be part of the story, but we are all part of something, whether it's our race, our religion, whatever, our sexuality, like that defines a piece of who we are. And so, it's just, I never sought that out, but it's nice to know it was there. So, I mean, there is the comic book Shalom Man. That's a different story. Um, all right, so here's a fun little thing that maybe some of you have never seen before, never heard about. I don't know the complete story, but She-Hulk, well, I kind of know the story. Yeah, contrast Moon Knight and Miss Marvel, two different Disney Plus shows that had characters where their religion, Miss Marvel was a little bit more tied into her religion because it was part of their heritage. But their heritage, like Mark Spector, the three of them, they were all dealing with that, and it was part of the story. So yeah, it's we all have to think about, like, if we want comics to, here's the thing, here's the basis thing about it. If we want comics to remain a part of our lives, a part of pop culture, and a strong industry, representation's the most important thing. There are 6 point whatever billion people on this planet. A decent percentage of those people watch these movies, and a small percentage of the people that watch the movies for the first time are going to go read those books. They're going to want to go into a comic book store, and they're going to want to be a part of where this came from. If comics doesn't shift, and it is shifting. So like, but if comic sellers, comic stores, comic publishers aren't going to shift into inclusivity and trying to make sure that everybody has something to read, then comics will eventually just be the same shit forever. And the outlying stuff will still be a small drop of it, as opposed to maybe trying to make that small drop a big puddle in the sea of comics. You know, my opinion on the Moon Knight series, I absolutely loved it. Miss Marvel was I liked the two first episodes and the two last episodes. I connected more with the kid growing up in Jersey discovering her powers than I did with the kind of I felt like the Miss Marvel middle part where she goes to her grandma. I felt like it was very much a rehashing of the Eternals, and I just didn't connect with it as much as the last two episodes where she's back home in the first two. You know, well there we go. I Hey, look, I I crave good stories, and if you watch this video with Ethan this morning, culture breeds creativity. If we're just picking from one culture of people, those stories will never be they will never feel more creativity. Whereas you pluck people from different parts of the world, different upbringings, different cultures, you're going to get this amazing smorgasbord of stories. I mean, that's what, and I, as a New Yorker, the basis of New York was this melting pot of all these cultures. And as much as I love the Northwest, there is no greater place in this country to experience culture than New York City, because everywhere you go, there is something different. LA, there's a ton of culture. San Francisco, there's a ton of culture. But the East Coast brings so many different people from different cultures of Europe and the rest of the world. But New York is just this melting pot. So like think of the more people we get involved in writing and creating comics, and the more people we get about talking about comics. Like I love I mean, like Angel is one of those people. Like I told him, he's got a permanent spot for book club because I love hearing his upbringing mixed with the way that he interprets stories. Like that's interesting to me. And all of you in the chat, like everybody who chimes in, like we're all from different places in this life, in this world, in this country, in this upbringing, this experience. That's going to add to the conversation of it's going to add to the conversation and the story. Like that's it. And so I fucking love it. I love talking to y'all. I love hearing your opinions. Like what we know about, especially if we're talking about comics and YouTube or just comics in general, there's so much negativity. There's so much hatred. There's so much fuckery. I mean, go watch a fucking Comic Tom episode and see like he might give a shit about comics, but that show does not give a shit about comics, And so I just want to I want to hear everybody's opinion. I want to hear your experience with this stuff. I'm from the same place. This is true. All right. Seth is from the same place I am, just 2 blocks away. But Seth and I grew up together reading and collecting comics. And I think we did more art appreciation and comic collecting than we did appreciating the good stories, because we weren't reading the good stuff until we were a little older. The stories in the panels are amazing. The stories between the panels are world changing. There you go. Great way to put it, Nick. Great way to put it. Speaking of weird, fun stories, so I don't know how many of you have ever seen this. I don't know how many of you have ever seen this, but this is just the cover to She-Hulk 14. Now, this cover was supposed to be the original cover. It's a Brian Bolland cover. Brian Bolland, Killing Joke. Boom. One of the foremost artists in comics. It came up in 2000 AD, Judge Dredd, all that great stuff. And apparently they had put some other cover on She-Hulk 14, and they recorrected it by sending these, or I don't know if they were given away for free. I'm not sure how you obtained this cover back in 1990, but the cover to She-Hulk 14 was supposed to be a Brian Bolland cover. That's the issue that kicked off the four-part Cosmic Squish Principle storyline. What really happened to that cover? Where's the baloney? It seems that the one of the Squish cover. So if you remember that Squish cover, uh, it spewed out the wrong cover, and so that's what happened. And they bungled the baloney, so they gave away this cover for free. I forgot that I had this, and I was looking through a little like stack of posters and like weird vintage comic book store stuff, and I found this cover. I don't know. I'm sure it has some value, but I just thought it's such a weird thing to. I can't remember it ever happening for another comic where they screwed up the cover and then they sent out the right cover to people for free. So that was the Brian Bolland cover for She-Hulk 14. Um, comics. Okay, so let's read this, Mr. Bigby. What did you say here? All right, so Comics Limited, and you have been friends for almost 40 years, and comics have always been a common touchstone for us. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Yeah, me and Seth have been friends since we were, I don't know what, 5, 6, 4, 3, and we went to the same preschool, and then we realized our parents realized we live 2 blocks away from each other, and I've known him almost my entire life. And we started going to uh we started going to our local comic store, World of Fantasy in Deer Park, New York. Probably, I don't know, what would you say, like when we were 8, Seth? Um, and then that closed down, and we started going to Grasshopper Comics, and then we started going to Collector's Kingdom in Huntington. So, uh, yeah, man, that's amazing to hear another person in here that is chatting. Actually, 2 people in here that are lifelong friends and comic fans. First, Dale Keown Hulkhead on back. Ooh, is that what Hulk number was that? Let's see. Hulk, is it 3? I can't remember what number this is, but it's probably like 346. No, maybe like 350 something. All right, so I've known Seth since we were 3. That's a long fucking time. That's 40 years right there. All right, World of Fantasy, baby. And then so I went to this, and I'm gonna post this video later on this week. But I went to the Washington Toy Fair this weekend in Puyallup, Washington, which is it's like 26 minutes for me. 368. Okay, I was off. Uh, and I shot a lot of video. Gonna edit that all together and I'll probably drop that this week on Friday or Saturday. I think I'm gonna change my video drop days. What do you guys think? Let's ask Friday or Saturday. I'm gonna change it from Sunday, go Friday or Saturday. You know, but I was thinking around. I got a bunch of books, but this one goes right to the PC. Now I know it's a Todd. See Todd by Todd. It's an ASM 313. Right. It's kind of beat up, but why did I buy it? Because it's a jeweler, a Mark Jeweler variant. And if you're not familiar with what I'm collecting, the basis of my collection is Todd. And I am trying to get every Todd book that exists with the Mark Jeweler variant. And I think I'm about halfway there, living on a prayer. Saturday has your vote. Grasshopper Comics of the infamous arcade game interaction. Did I tell that story on here? Oh God. Yeah, I told the kid to eat a bag of dicks, and then he tried to hit me, and I hit him. I was young. That's right. You got the jewels, baby. I'm gonna run them jewels. What's up, Dave? Dave Korea in the house, artist extraordinaire, and Davenger. Mattis is finally in the house. Mattis, you're gonna have to watch the replay because we did have some great talk. I just went off on a not a rant, more like a preaching rant about inclusivity in comics. And then I talked about Davenger Con. I did announce the 2 guests that are, one is 100% confirmed, and that is Joe Benitez, Lady Mechanica creator and friend. And the other guest is Jim Rugg. Jim Rugg's going to be at fucking Davenger Con. Woohoo! And that's the truth. So yeah. excited for that. Mark your calendars. April 22nd, April 23rd. 2 days of Davenger's comic sales, Davenger stuff, friends, and maybe some really crazy exclusive covers. Yeah, here it is. There's the schedule. Uh yeah, I'm insanely stoked, Nick. Todd's missing out on the con. Look, I need to get Todd on the channel, but it's got to be one of those things where like I work up to it. Unless somebody's got a connection and wants to shoot him an email and tell him to come. I did. I shot him an email and he said yeah, he's available for it. So but yeah, I'm going to read off the guest list again. I'll tell you guys who's going to be at the con selling and also just coming to talk. We've got our buddy Manu, 9.9 Newsstand, and Justin, Spidey Hits. They're going to be coming together. Grail's host, Zach, Prince of Cheese. He's going to be here. Joe Benitez, Lady Mechanica creator, among many other Top Cow and other books that he has worked on and co-created. We've got Super Ugly coming. Super Ugly has been on the show before. We did a $50 challenge with him. He is a rapper, an artist, and a comic enthusiast and seller. Bronze Age Batcave will be here. We'll be doing a sale with them as part of the con. East Bay Comics, our friend Angel, will be here both days, Saturday night closing and Sunday night opening, along with JD. So JD's going to be opening the second day with Angel. Then we've got Nick, Nerds Pub, is going to be taking part of it. And Nick will bring some fun stuff to sell. And then we've got Jim Rugg. We've got Jim Rugg, by the way, if you don't know, Hulk Grand Design, Street Angel, half of the cartoonist kayfabe duo, the greatest comics podcast, period. We've got Joe, my friend and graphic designer, Scar System. He'll be selling some books. We've done some claim sales on the channel before, and he's been on the channel. You're gonna buy fire. I'm so excited for this. So yeah, Joe Scar System's gonna be on, and maybe he'll drop in and he'll go, hey. And Ethan from Destiny City Comics is going to stop by. He's going to be live from his store, so it'll be one of those things where he'll have some stuff ready, but we'll just do a store scan and we'll talk about some of the stuff he has. I'm going to be selling all weekend, but for the most part, if somebody's only bringing like 10 books on, I'm not going to have the wall. I'll have like 10 books. So we'll do like kind of matching claim sales. And then the last seller on Sunday is none other than Maddie, Comics. And you guys know what to expect from that. It's going to be wild. There's going to be a lot of Jar Jar talk. And then the one thing I'll talk about, if you missed it, doing a charity raffle all weekend. Tickets are going to be $20, 5 for 80. It's going to go support two charities, one that I'm very personally invested in called Make Tiny Changes. It's in the memory of a friend of mine who's no longer alive. And then Bryce, who wrote the theme song for the West Coast Avengers, his daughter's high school, he runs a music scholarship foundation. So we're going to split the raffle. 50% is going to go to each charity. If you would like to donate something, please get in touch. I just ask that it's something $100 value or more, because tickets are $20. Everything that I'm putting in the raffle is going to be worth like 4 times that amount, but you don't have to go that crazy. Just, like if you have a slab that's $100 slab or, something like that, I totally appreciate it. You don't have to, but if you want to, just get in touch with me. I'll give you my address. I'll send you a shipping label and you can ship it out to me and I'll take care of the rest. So that's going to be Davenger Con, April 22nd and 23rd. So stoked for that. This has been something that I've wanted to do for a long time. Just never really, I didn't have the, not that I didn't have the means. The timing wasn't right. It wasn't, and now we've got almost 1,700 subscribers on the channel. edging towards 2000. I think by the time the con hits, we'll probably hit that 1700, because I will ask everybody who just to, you know, promote it, shout it, whatever, retweet it, Facebook it, Instagram it, whatever. I also announced God Country is going to be April's book club. So pick up God Country trade paperback. It's a finite story by Donny Cates, and it's a fantastic book. And I was looking to reread it, and since Nick is a huge fan and I'm a huge fan, I picked it for this month. Really stoked on that. Um, Another little reading recommendation for those of you that edge towards the side of maybe see, I knew it. I knew it. For those of you that edge towards the side of liking weirder stuff, well, comics, thank you very much. I appreciate it. I hope you enjoy the ride. It's gonna be a weird one, but it's gonna be a fun one. Uh, I finally finished reading Daniel Klaus's Like a Velvet Glove Cast in Iron, and I believe this was originally published in 8 Ball issues 1 through 10. And if you don't know Daniel Klaus, you might know 8 Ball, you might know Ghost World, which was made into a movie, it was like a decade or so ago. Um, Art School Confidential. So Klaus is, one of the Fantagraphics mainstays, along with the Los Bros. And this, if you like, let's say you're a fan of David Lynch and Twin Peaks, you should read this. It's it's funny because when you look at the back, the quotes on it. One of the quotes on here from World Art is incoherent but engrossing. It's such a fucking weird, trippy book. And if you don't know Daniel Klaus's art, I mean, his art's pretty iconic. You've probably seen it somewhere, album covers, posters, maybe in the New Yorker magazine, maybe in the Times magazine. But this is one of the weirdest books I've ever read. And I don't think I know what happened, but I really enjoyed reading it. Like I said, if you're a Lynch, maybe a Stanley Kubrick fan, on that kind of like, not exactly noir, not exactly mystery, but some weird area of like, you can't stop looking at it because it's really beautiful art wise, and you're not exactly sure what's going on. But this is not for kids. I would definitely say this would be the equivalent of an R-rated movie. So don't buy this and read this for your kids. But if you want something that's a little off the beaten path when it comes to storytelling, but still, you know, I mean, it's Daniel Klaus, so it's not like he's not a no name. He's one of considered one of the modern greats in the comic book world and the cartoonist world. So I finished reading that, and then I picked up another Klaus book the other day. What did I pick up? I think I picked up uh, David Boring. I think that's the one I bought the other day. But I live, and if you're in the Northwest, you've you might have heard of Fantagraphics. You might know that their store is in Seattle, and I usually go there once a month. If you're able to go, one of the coolest things about the store, the Fantagraphics store, is they have a back room, and it's it's just kind of like 10 foot by 10 foot room, and it's all scratch and dent, as they call it, and it's all 50% off cover price. So I went back there this week. I picked up a couple of books, including a Vaughn Baudet Cheech Wizard hardcover, but they have copies of Barry Windsor Smith's Monsters in there for half cover because they have like a little dent on it or a little scratch. So if you're in the Seattle area, please do stop by Fantagraphics. Larry, the store manager, has been working there, I think, 31 years for them. I spoke to him the other day. We have a pretty good repertoire between each other. We know each other a little bit through a mutual friend, and I asked him if I could come in and do like a little interview with him and film in the store, and he was so for it. So that's going to happen towards the end of June, and I'm really excited to go in there. And he's been working at Fantagraphics since fucking the early days of Love and Rocket. So he's seen it all. It's really cool, and he's such a nice dude. So that was really cool. Also got to Talked to him about that the same day that Jim Rugg emailed me back. So that was a good day. So I'll be back also for Wednesday of this week. I took last week off. So if you're itching to get that Wednesday of energy in you and buy a bunch of books, well, I'll be back on Wednesday. Uh, and then the week of the con, I won't be on Wednesday and the week after. So it'll be like the con is going to be occupy like the end of the month. What else? Oh yeah. Right before the show, I watched the Secret Invasion trailer. I don't know if anybody knew that it dropped like 2 hours ago, and that's the new Disney Plus series based on the storyline they did. I believe it was Bendis, and I forget who the artist was of it. Who was the artist on Secret Invasion? Somebody chime in. Um, I gotta say, it was underwhelming. I don't know. I didn't read it, to tell you the truth. I never read Secret Invasion, so I thought there was a lot of superheroes involved in Secret Invasion, and this was like an espionage Secret Invasion, and I'm like, kind of don't want to watch a non-superhero Marvel show. Like, you know, eh. But it's just the first trailer. Who knows? Who knows? It might end up being awesome. I do love me some Samuel L. Jackson, and I got to imagine this is going to be his last hurrah with Marvel. I mean, the dude is pushing 75. He might have just turned 75 recently. Let me see. Samuel L. Jackson. I believe he's close to 75. He's 74. Okay. Yeah. Trailer didn't catch my attention, right? Like, it's cool that they're doing this. Like, it very much feels like Winter Soldier, but man, Winter Soldier had Captain America in it, Falcon, Black Widow. Like that was an espionage superhero movie. But I look, it's first trailer, and then DC is dropping the Blue Beetle trailer tomorrow, and oh, it was Delato. Okay, yeah, I knew I was going to say Oliver Copiel, but it was Delato. Okay, um, uh, so Blue Beetle trailer drops tomorrow. I'm really excited for what James Gunn has in store. And it's funny, I was watching I don't know if you guys watch Mark Miller. You might say his name's Mark Millar. Mark Miller, Scottish comic book writer who's, written pretty much everything under the sun. Um, so he's got his own podcast called Miller World or Miller Time, and he had two great guests this past week, and it was Frank Quietly and Brian Hitch. And in his interview with Hitch, they were talking about it, and it's very true because like they were talking about how you could see where the Marvel cinematic universe started to kind of drop off is when, and I don't think that it completely dropped off, but I get where they're coming from. Um, when they stopped adapting specific stories and started to do their own thing, and I guess they got rid of Bendis and Quesada as consultants. When they dropped those guys, like that's when people started to be like, it's not as good as it used to be. And then they pointed out that like the the people in the MCU behind like Kevin Feige and like Feige might be a little bit, maybe I'm wrong about him, but what they were saying is that these people aren't really comic readers. And on the other side, with James Gunn, he has been a comic reader since he was a kid and still continues to be. And that's why you're seeing this passion from him. And you kind of have this confidence that he's going to build up this great world in DC because he's reading the books. And when you look at it, you look at Guardians and like they pluck some stuff out of the comics and it showed, but you look at Suicide Squad and they plucked things out of comics and characteristics of these characters, and it works so well. And I think Suicide Squad, people don't give it enough credit, is one of the better or best superhero movies of this age. We need Scott Snyder to oversee the Batman movie. No, well, okay. I'm going to get back to that. I want to say hello to Old Timer Gaming. What's up, my friend? Welcome in. But here's the thing about Scott Snyder. He already writes, the way that he writes is in a cinematic in a cinematic storytelling way. So I remember reading shit what was the one? The Deep, not the Deep. The one he did, the first one he did was Sean Murphy. Scott Snyder, Sean Murphy. I think it was called The Deep or The Wake. Okay. So The Wake was written 100% to be a movie. It didn't stick the landing, but I know I think that's one of the criticisms that Scott Snyder gets is that his landings don't always stick. But Snyder, if they're adapting what Snyder wrote, then it's already written for the most part for screen. Snyder has written some great Batman. I don't think he compares. He's top five. How about that? Let's put him at top five. Wouldn't put him in. That's your opinion. I get it, and I don't disagree that he writes some of the best Batman, but I don't agree that he writes the best. But that's the thing about art. We can have two slightly different views of the same thing. Uh, his Court of Owls is bar none the best thing he's ever written for Batman. Um, and his run with Greg Capullo is legendary. What I think, and I'm not Matt Reeves, so I'm not I'm not in the writers' room for the next Batman movie, but they set up Hush in this last Batman movie, and they kind of danced around like a little couple of the aspects of Court of Owls. So I think what they're going to do is they're going to do Hush for the second movie, and then they're going to wrap it up uh, uh, with the Court of Owls. Now I've said this before. I'm a huge Batman fan, comics, movies, everything about Batman. This first Batman movie, and I assume that wait, oh yeah, okay. The first Batman movie I said I remember saying to a couple friends that movie was about Gotham, and it's just that Batman is the character that they're showing you the viewpoint of. And when you look at Hush and you look at Tommy and Hush, a lot of it's about Gotham and a lot of it's about the history of Gotham. And then when you look at the Court of Owls, that's all about Gotham. That almost has, like the Court of Owls just happens to go after Batman, but like those three stories, the one that they told in the first movie, and then the Hush story and Court of Owls, like they're making a Batman trilogy that's about Gotham, and it just happens to center around the viewpoint of Batman. So I think that like to have the Court of Owls is a necessary, is the way they will end it. But Hush is probably going to be next. Who Batman? Frank Miller. Frank Miller, Alan Moore, and Frank Miller. Well, okay, not Alan Moore because that's more of a Joker story with Batman, but Frank Miller, 100%. And I think Snyder for modern times, 100%. But then Jeff Loeb, I think I think Jeff Loeb, Frank Miller, um, Scott Snyder, Alan Moore, and then shit, who am I thinking of? There's a name that's escaping me. Amber, hello. Hello. Well, so if I have to reread Hush because I only read it the once and I predicted that Tommy was Hush the entire fucking time, like after the first time you meet him. But the way that they set up, the way that they set up Tommy, the way that they set up the Hush storyline possibly in Batman, and I think it's Tommy. I don't think I'm misremembering that. It just makes sense. Oh yeah, Tom King. So King came after Snyder, and I remember I think King was writing. Were they both doing Batman Eternal? Was that the one that was coming out weekly, and it was like King and Snyder were like switching off? I need to go and read Tom King's run, and I really need to read Zdarsky's new run. I've been really lacking on my Batman in the last 5, 6, 10 years. So yeah, the Tom King, I know his run is pretty much solidified as a great run, and I am reading Deadly Duo, which is Silvestri, which I think that's one of the best Batman books, most amazing Batman art, uh, period, ever. So I'll read Tom King and Zdarsky, but you guys got to read Silvestri, Batman Joker Deadly Duo. Um, that Brian Azzarello book that I gave away today. That's a great Joker book. Um, but Jim Lee and Loeb on Hush was great, but Loeb and Sale, I think Long Halloween is top three greatest Batman stories of all time. I think that is a perfect book, Long Halloween. But excuse me, I think a lot of what Tim Sale and Jeff Loeb did together is some of the best comics made. Um, yeah, period. Yes, dude, seriously, like his Batman is unfucking real, unreal. Silvestri. Do I think they would ever do a live action Death in the Family? They, I don't think so. No, the reason why is because Robin doesn't work well on screen. Like, I mean, Burt Ward was something, but that was, that was of that time, of that version of Batman. The other Robin, Chris O'Donnell, was not good. They, they alluded to Joseph Gordon-Levitt being Robin at the end of Dark Knight, but at that point he would have made a better Nightwing. I think Nightwing is much better on screen, but I don't think you could do Death in the Family. I just don't think Robin works on screen. Maybe I'll be wrong. Maybe I'll be wrong. Red Rain, right. So my favorite Batman story of all time is Crimson Mist, Red Rain, and Red Rain, Crimson Mist, and Bloodstorm. That's an Elseworlds book by Kelly Jones and is it Doug Munch and Kelly Jones. Batman vs. Dracula, Elseworlds. But that's a special one for me. I think it just, like I read it and I read it again and I've read it like 4 times and nothing about it ever gets old for me. Yeah, Sal and Loeb are amazing. So you got Long Halloween as their top. That's the pinnacle of Sal and Loeb. I, Superman for All Seasons probably next. Spider-Man Blue probably third. Their color series is just amazing. Hulk Gray and Daredevil Yellow they're just these fucking perfect comics. They are just these perfect comics. Uh, some of their other like Dark Victory's good. All their Batman stuff I really loved, but the color stuff, the Tim Sale, Jeff Loeb stuff, color stuff is unbelievable. Him and Jim Lee's Batman are 1A and 1B. There you go. There you go. See, Jim Lee's Batman is unbelievable. Todd didn't draw enough Batman, but he drew technically one of the most iconic Batman. Neil Adams is probably number one. I know, there would be no Batman for Jim Lee. Like, there would be no Jim Lee Batman, no Mark Silvestri Batman, no Todd Batman. Like, none of that shit would exist if Neil Adams hadn't have been there first. Because Neil Adams, what he did, he took that character from what was like the dregs of nothingness and gave it a life that basically gave Batman as we know him today. Like, through time, what Neil Adams did with that character, and his Neil Adams Batman stuff will outlive, I think, Jim Lee's and well, maybe not Jim Lee's because that's a different generation, but like the rest of it just kind of, yeah, I don't know. Neil Adams is a god. I never watched Teen Titans Go, but that's really funny. Yeah, people love Robin and Titans. That's what I've heard. There you go, Dark Victory. I've never checked out the Titans or Teen Titans Go. Live action Bat. They had a live action Batgirl and they fucking shelved it. We're never gonna get. Oh, I would love to see it. Apparently, the movie was great. Batgirl would work because Batgirl isn't. See, the relationship between Batman and Robin is so fucking weird. Like, when you boil it down to it, it's like, oh, your parents are dead. You're mine now. It's just so creepy when you think about it. And I just don't think it translates to screen. Animated works or Robin on his own works, but Death in the Family would have to, like, see, here's the other thing. You have to have Robin in 2 movies before you kill him. You can't introduce Robin and kill him. That doesn't work. You have to establish the relationship, and you have to establish the length of the relationship that they've had for it to be effective. So, if they bring Batman into the James Gunn's DC, and he's in like Justice League and he's in a couple of different things, and it's more of the campy Batman, then maybe it works. But I don't see pulling off Robin and Batman on screen. I could be wrong. I'm no Listen, I'm no Scorsese or Spielberg, so I don't know. Uh, Neil for the win. Yeah, Neil Adams X-Men is also so. Troutman, welcome in, by the way. I was flipping through. I forget what. Oh no, I was flipping through the first Havoc maybe a couple weeks ago, and I had never owned that book, and I had never seen the interiors of that book at all. And then I had a pile of Neil Adams X-Men. I had never seen any of it. It's fucking amazing. Like low key, not low key. I mean, it's better than everything that came before it. I love Jack Kirby and I love, but like Neil Adams X-Men and Barry Smith's X-Men is really good too. Those two were like, why don't people talk about those two on X-Men books? Like Windsor Smith's later stuff on X-Men is real well known. You've got Life Death and you got the Wolverine issue. But like his early stuff on X-Men's it's nothing to sneeze at. And Neil Adams X-Men is amazing. Yeah. Neil Adams took the goofy 60s comics code Batman and slapped all the goofy shit out of him and made him epic. Yeah. Like I did a little I took a couple of photos, but I did a little read through on 226 and Batman 251. And man, Neil Adams is just like something else. He really was. And I, his legacy will echo through comics eternity because of the multiple things that he did for comics, including what he did with Batman, but also what he did for creator rights. So if you've never looked at some Neil Adams Batman, it's a treat. Like stuff from the 70s can get a little wordy, late 60s, 70s, early 80s can get really wordy and unnecessarily wordy, but like the art just sings for Batman. It just sings. And then Marshall Rogers Batman is also unbelievable. That's a more recent discovery of mine is Marshall Rogers on Marshall Roth. I keep wanting to say Marshall Mathers, but I'm saying Rogers, so it's Marshall Rovers. Marshall Rogers Batman is also fantastic. Yeah, yeah. If and I know Amber, you probably have some Neil Adams X-Men. That stuff is just so amazing. What I have read, I think Grayson Batman and Damian Robin was really good. Yeah, I think that's more because it's set because right, Damian is Bruce's son, and Bruce is like dead when Dick Grayson becomes Batman, and it's more of a contentious relationship between the two of them. But it's something that I want to read again because I'm not a Grant Morrison fan, but it's Frank Quietly art, and that Batman Robin shit looks amazing. Frank Quietly, another one of the top 10 Batman artists. Um, so yeah, I'll talk about Batman all day, every day, any day. There because and I anybody that's known me for more than 22 minutes, I've said it before, I'll say it again. Batman is the greatest fictional character in the last century and a half. There is no character except maybe Sherlock Holmes that has been represented and in so many different ways in so many different mediums in you know in the history of that character's existence. And Batman, we've got movies, TV, animated, comics, audio, just everything, novels. Like there's so many different iterations and interpretations of Batman. Amber, so tonight's topic, Santa. Santa, I know him. Fucking Santa. The night Santa went crazy. The night Saint Nick went insane. Like Santa creeps into your house and leaves shit under a tree. He's a creep and he's a stalker, and most of the world doesn't believe in him. Uh, so tonight's topic was, well, it's just the official announcement of Davenger Con, which is the Comic Con that's going to be happening on this channel, April 22nd and 23rd. Um, tons of guest sellers and a couple of guest comic book creators. So we're that I've already gone through that twice. So just watch the replay. But I am back this Wednesday, so everybody hold on to their butts. So yeah, I finished the second omnibus of Invincible this weekend. I read a lot of comics this weekend. I probably read 30 issues of Invincible. And so I gotta grab the third omnibus for this week. Try to get through it by the end of April, aka Amber's big week. There you go, Amber. But yeah, I'm really excited for Comic Con. I'm for Davenger Con. A couple other things that are in the works. I'm gonna be picking up another big piece of Jim's collection, Jim Healy, who, if you remember last November, I drove out to Idaho and picked up so many books from him. Oh, congratulations, Amber. Well, happy early birthday. And what day is your actual birthday? Yes, Brady. Invincible is one of the easiest comics to read because there is no point where you're bored. There's no point where you feel like you can stop, and that, like, the set pieces, and I don't think this is a big, thing to say. The set pieces, it's some of the best action in comics ever created. The Viltrumite War, the stuff with the Flaxens, like all this stuff. And I don't want to spoil anything for anybody, so I won't. But when you meet Conquest, wow. April 24th. Well, that's awesome. We'll have to shout out your birthday on Davenger Con, during. And then yeah, so if you've never picked up Invincible, I actually think did I sell it? I thought I was selling like the first 5 trade paperbacks and nobody bought it. I might actually have like the first 5 trade paperbacks still available. I can't remember if somebody bought them or not, but I put it up on Instagram a couple weeks ago. But yes, Invincible is it's the greatest superhero book, this century. Yes, and that's the thing, right? There's never any consequences. Right, everything has consequences, and they're always there. They're always weighing on the characters, whoever the character, whoever the character is that caused something or whatever. And obviously, Invincible is the main character, but yeah, and there's never anything that's kind of forgotten. There's they don't try and shove anything under the rug. He wears all of it on his sleeve. It's such a great book. Oh, I didn't realize that Jeffrey Dean Morgan was doing a voice. He could also be doing what's his name? Whitebeard. Is that Thrag? I think Conquest would make most sense because Conquest would be the next person you meet that is a male. That's not Anissa. I didn't realize that Jeffrey Dean Morgan was doing a voice. All I know about is Invincible is yeah, well that does happen, but that happens later. There's a lot of stuff that happens in that. Here, let's while we're talking about Invincible, why don't we do this? Why don't we open a pack or two of the Image Universe Chromium cards from 1995, I believe. Those consequences that make even more story of the consequence. Yeah, like it's just there's never anything that gets forgotten, and like there are a lot of things that cause an effect like this person did this and now this is happening. All right. What we got here? I like opening packs. By the way, I'm gonna be yeah, there's a couple of other YouTube shows that I'm gonna be on in the future. So I'll be posting those links on Instagram. I'll probably try and post some version of a link on YouTube as well. But look, it's Die Hard from Youngblood. Oh wow, there's another of the same card in the same pack. What do we got here? Is this a Wetworks or Jim Lee? Oh, it's a Cyberforce Killraiser. Did you guys ever read Image Comics in the 90s? Because that shit was, it wasn't great, but it was iconic for childhood. I mean, Spawn, first 10 issues of Spawn are fantastic. Oh, weird. There's Super Patriot. Also, Eric Larson's been still going with Savage Dragon, Dark Thorn, Youngblood. Anybody in the chat still collect cards at all? I know I have some people in here that watch me when I'm on, that have seen me on Spidey's channel, Spidey Hits on YouTube. That's my buddy Justin and Manu are the hosts. So Justin's channel and Manu's show with him is Spidey Hits the Marvel Show, which I think they're on Tuesday this week. But yeah, I guested on their show a couple of times, and then I became like a little reoccurring guest. Is that Dandy? Oh no, that is Normal Man. Is that they made a Normal Man card? God, these are stuck together. So Normal Man is Jim Valentino's. Oh, that's Captain Everything. Whatever. That's fucking Normal Man. Captain Everything. I never watched Wildcats, the animated series. The animated series was very short-lived, wasn't it? Ooh, there he is. See, Todd. Now you have Todd. Got a little Spawn card right there. Okay, Old Timer collects Marvel cards. Yeah, I know. I've seen you in Spidey's show. Marvel cards are fun. I just bought this box because it's fun to open these packs every once in a while. I just bust out a couple packs and open them. There's Stryker. Yeah, Stryker from Mark Silvestri's Cyberforce. Speaking of Cyberforce, Brady, I bought a trade paperback. Yeah, they reissued the first, what was it, the first story arc in a trade paperback for the anniversary recently. That's a little, was that Wildcats? What's his name? God damn it. Okay, that's wrong. Cyberforce, Heatwave. And then we've got Psychotron. Man, Mark Silvestri, he doesn't get the credit that he so much deserves for being one of the better artists to come out of Marvel in the 90s, in the late 80s. I mean, he had a great run on X-Men, which is pretty damn legendary, or legendary, as you would say. What DC property would I like Gunn to direct? Well, he's doing Superman, which I think is a good thing. He already did Suicide Squad, so I can't put that on the list. How about Justice League Dark would be cool. Yeah, I'd like to see him do Justice League Dark. I'd like to see yeah, I think that would be really cool. Swamp Thing, is it Swamp Thing? John Constantine, Deadman and Spectre. Who else is in that team? Somebody enlighten me. There is a Zealot, whatever the hell her name is. Grifter and Zealot from Wildcats. Hey, look at that medieval Spawn. That's a cool card. I just want all the Todd. Dark Justice League. There we go. Silvestri's X-Men was pretty amazing. Like I remember seeing Silvestri's cover for the one with Dan Green that he did. I can't remember the number. I want to say it's 234, but it's the Wolverine on the crucified on the X. Such iconic book. Wolverine just gets the shit beaten out of him for a while in those X-Men books. Void from Wildcats. Jimothy Lee. He started Sharper Image. Zatanna, there we go. That's right. She's in the Justice League Dark. Little Shadowhawk action. What was his superpower? Oh, he breaks people's backs. Yeah. He's got AIDS, and he breaks people's backs. All right, that's a dope card. Wonder who inked that. Was that Liefeld? No, it was Chance Wolf doing the inks. Pretty cool. Is Darkness really good from Top Cow? So I read who is she? Who is she? Integrity. Oh my god, that's a terrible name. Um, I went back and read Darkness as like 10 years ago because Garth Ennis wrote the first I don't remember how many issues, but Garth Ennis wrote the first story and I enjoyed it. Is the character's name Jackie Estrada? The art's great. It's worth at least picking up like the Garth Ennis run part of it, Brady. Seven to Eternity. I never read that. That's a Western. Who wrote that? Is that it's not Remender, right? I know that's an Image book, but that's more a recent Image book. Uh, that's not first wave Image. That's the better Image stuff. I mean, Image in the early 2000s was bar none. Ooh, what is this? I just see a Todd McFarlane picture on this card. Let's see what the front of this card looks like. Hey, bud. That's pretty cool. Little Spawn Blast here. Yeah, okay, so it was Remender. Image at the beginning of the century, which is such a weird thing to say, but we are 23 years into this century. God, I'm old. Uh, Walking Dead, Invincible, Saga, and then a little bit, you fast forward a little bit to Black Science and Paper Girls, and what else am I thinking? That's what comes to the top of my head for Image books in like the first like, you know, 10 years of this century. Ooh, we got an insert. We got a little clear chrome insert. It looks like a C-Todd pull Todd. Yeah, there we go. Check. Look at that. It's so clear. That's a cool card. That's what I wanted to get out of these boxes. This box is as many Spawn cards as I could get. See if I can kind of wipe off with a microfiber cloth. I think there's just like a little layer of old on those. Slightly younger than yeah, thanks. Thanks, Brady. How can you talk about Image and not mention Spawn? Well, we're mentioning Spawn right here, but honestly, like Bryce, I read the first omnibus 2 years ago, year and a half ago. And you know, I love the art on Spawn. I love some of the characters. The first after, when Capullo takes over, there's a little coherence to the story, but the first 50 issues, nothing, nothing happens really. See Todd, see through Todd to other Todd. Wait, what if we unlock a special thing? um, Detective Chimp would be cool if they did him like Pogo. Pogo's great in this show. I read the first two story arcs on Umbrella Academy. I really like that book, but I really like what they did with the show too. Uh, it's a lot of fun. Spawn to Spawn. That's right, Crockpot. Black Science is an excellent book. I never finished it. Full disclosure, I need to go back because like I was reading all this stuff when it was coming out. Black Science Saga, uh 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 Outcast, like that 2009 to 2014. And I moved to Seattle and I had a local comic store and I really wasn't happy with the pulls that they were doing. Like all the books would be like damaged. They didn't care. And so I stopped collecting single issues. So I literally stopped in the middle of half these series that I need to just go buy and reread the hardcovers. Uh, we'll get back to that in a second, Amber. Uh, Thank you, Brady. Always good to see you, and I'll see you again soon. And thank you for stopping by and hanging out. Curse words. I never read curse words. I've heard decent things about it, but I never read it. They did do Max. The animated series, just like the Spawn series, I honestly don't think you should ever. I mean, like, look, they're gonna do a Spawn movie. He already, there's gonna be the reason. Okay, all right, hold on. Spawn. Spawn and Shadowhawk, which I don't know. That's Family Guy. I don't know what these fucking Shadowhawk cards are. Okay. So Max, I would love to see continue as an animated series. I don't think you should try and do that live action. I just don't think it would work. I don't think it would translate. But not everything has to be live action. Look, Invincible would not have worked as a live action show. The budget would have been $47 billion because that show's too big. Um, Spawn will end up having a movie, and I don't think that Jamie Foxx will end up playing him because whenever that actually happens, I think he's going to be too old. But the Spawn animated series is the best Spawn we're ever going to get. It doesn't matter. Spawn does not need to work as a live action series. It does not need to work as a movie. Animated on HBO is still the way to go. Um, that being said, the reason why Todd, um, the reason why Todd built the Spawn universe over the last 2 years is because movie studios were telling him they're not just going to buy one movie from a guy and let him direct it. Movie studios don't have faith in anything anymore because they all suck. Uh, all right, Amber, have a good night. Um, so he built the Spawn universe, Scorched, Gunslinger, King Spawn, uh, so that they could buy a universe because, you know, um, they want to build a franchise around it. So I think what he said though is he wants to direct at least something. So I'm sure that'll happen. But the Spawn movie could be good. I can't envision seeing it on the screen and being wowed by it as much as I'm wowed on my couch by the animated series. But hey, if they do it, they do it. I think the animated series will always be the best thing we get a Spawn because it's the perfect storm. And if you've never watched it on HBO, it's the perfect storm. It's got the grittiness that the comic art gave us, and it's got the cohesiveness of the story that Todd never gave us. Jonathan Majors is Spawn. I don't see it. He's too iconic now as Kang. If he continues on that, we'll see what ends up happening. I think Disney's going to try and at least rehabilitate his image, and despite whether he did or didn't do, like everybody came out of the woodwork and just said he's a pain in the ass to work with. I don't know. I don't know the guy personally, so it's not my thing. Um, Michael B. Jordan as Spawn would be fucking dope. Michael B. Jordan does nothing wrong. Like acting wise, like that man he is at a 10 of 10 level. I still haven't seen Creed 3, but I've seen I think about 60-70% of his movies, and he's got the attitude too to play Spawn. Like we think about the character Al Simmons, and then you think about the way that Keith David voiced him. Like he's always got a chip on his shoulder. He's always angry. Obviously, he's dead, and he was killed, and his best friend married his wife. So he's got all the reason in the world to be eternally pissed off. But Michael B. Jordan acts like if you look at his characters, they all have this kind of great chip on their shoulders. I mean, I haven't seen his. I know he was in like at least one kind of romantic movie, but like you look at Creed, you look at Killmonger, um, you look at the kid he played in Fruitvale. Fruitvale was a different because that was based off a true story. So that's not like he's acting great, but he's not like yeah. I kind of take that out of the discussion, but you look at the characters he's played that are fictional, and he does act with a chip on his shoulder, and I think that's like fucking perfect for Al Simmons slash Spawn. Do you think Red Sun would make a good live action movie? You know, I love the story. The animated movie was good, but it was too long. If they did that, if DC started up an Elseworlds film division where they made it clear to the public that these are not stories in continuity, I think Red Sun, it it would be amazing. I don't think it'd ever get made because currently Russia is literally their war killing innocent people in the Ukraine every day, and you know, he's probably the scariest, most dangerous person in the world, Putin. But just if we're going at a base level, Lamar, yeah, I think it would be a fucking great movie. Spawn was the second rated R-rated movie you ever saw. What was the first, Captain Crockpot? Mine, I don't know what mine was in the theater. If Seth is still in here, I know we snuck in to see T2 when we were kids. That probably wasn't the first, but that was early. Um, but my first one that I ever saw was Aliens. That was the first R-rated movie. Nope, Commando. Commando. Live action Violator isn't going to translate well. Look, it might if they put the money behind it that Cameron put behind Avatar. Like if you think about it, if movie studios went to James Cameron and said, "We want to use your technology to make, do some VFX and in other movies," like could you imagine what Spawn would look like if fucking if James Cameron was behind it? Whew, that would be a trip. That would be the most insane movie ever. I assume we were talking about Spawn, the animated series, Old Timer Gaming. Idris Elba would have been perfect. Eldra, Elba. No, God, Idris Elba. He's more of a Terry Fitzgerald than he is an Al Simmons or even a Jason Wynn. Idris Elba would make a great Jason Wynn. He's too smooth. He's too smooth. That man is like whiskey. Michael B. Jordan's like granite. Yeah. Jordan was even good. Yeah, that was his first role. He was a kid. I remember I remember watching it, and I watched The Wire after I knew who he was because I think I'd already seen Fruitvale. And I was like, "Oh shit, that's that kid. That's Michael B. Jordan, but not Michael Jordan." Thank you, Comics Limited, and yeah, just shoot me a message. I'll get that book out to you, and thank you for joining and subscribing. Candyman, Hellraiser 3. Are we talking about movies that I like? Are we talking about actors? What are we, Seth? You're pulling at my heartstrings. I am the way. Uh Leguizamo was great as the clown. Leguizamo was great. It worked. That was the best thing about that movie was Leguizamo by far as the clown. Violator, well, whatever. I'd buy that for $1. Yeah, Derpa, my dad took me to see that movie when I was a kid. I don't think I've been the same since in the best way possible. RoboCop underrated. Well, yeah, RoboCop's underrated because RoboCop is one of the greatest satire movies ever, and possibly or probably the greatest movie to sum up the 80s in a 2-hour window. And uh, Paul Vanderhoven, whew, that man made some good fucking movies, and they were all either social or political, you know, satire ish. He was making a statement about American culture in every single one of those movies. And then, like, Starship Troopers is clearly about, the Nazis. Like, that's what it's about. He's smooth, but he's got an imposing voice and he can absolutely agree. Yeah, I mean, I actually need to watch that new Luther movie. I really like Idris Elba. I just don't see him as Al. I see more of a Jason Wynn or Terry. Oh, first R-rated movie we saw. That would make sense. I mean, Candyman, I remember seeing that in the theater and fucking losing my shit. And Hellraiser 3 was just ridiculous. Yeah, RoboCop still stands up today. But I think we stuck into T2 before we were old enough to see an R-rated movie. But I remember when we went to go see Aliens 3 or Alien 3 and I almost fucking threw up at the autopsy scene because I can't watch people being cut open. No, no. Only problem with RoboCop was the budget. Yeah, but that was of the time. Like the special effects were, like the Ed 209 was clearly a mini but like his RoboCop, Paul Peter Weller's suit, like he looked good for the time. Movies that I love that no one has ever seen are the Savage Steve Holland trilogy, Better Off Dead I've seen, One Crazy Summer, How I Got Into College I don't remember. Uh He also made Eat the Cat. I don't think I ever saw Eat the Cat, and I don't know the Steve Holland trilogy, but I will have to take a look at those. Dead or Alive, you're coming with me. That's the thing about cops. Wait, what does he say? That's the thing about cops. I don't like them, and they don't like me. The guy that played Dr. Manhattan on HBO would be good for Spawn. Oh yeah, he's gonna be what else? He's in something coming out. Another movie that everybody's stoked about. What the hell? He's playing somebody. Oh, I can't. I remember his name in the show Cal, but I can't remember the actor's name. Predator was your first movie. Oh man, Predator is such a fucking classic. You're one ugly motherfucker. J- Kill me! Do it now! Kill me! I'm right here! Come on, do it! I'm right here! He's playing Wonder Man. That's right. That's right. You had a very visceral fear of toxic waste after RoboCop. Well, you know what the scary thing is we grew up next to New Jersey, so to have a fear of toxic waste is normal. But yes, even more after watching RoboCop makes sense. I got a Todd refractor. What? What? Oh, this is awesome. It's all like fucking whacked out for being in the pack for 30 years, but that is sick. Oh, it's so cool. It's a Todd refractor. Let's see what the odds of getting this is. I don't think it shows the odds on here. Oh wait. 1 in 11. Clear zone chase card 1 in 11. But this is not a clear zone. So what is this? Clear chrome? Huh. That's wild. Cool. There's no actual telling what this is. Maybe it's super rare, but I'll take it. Okay. Yeah, Abdul Mateen the second. Okay. What's up, Sean? Good to see you, my friend. You missed a lot of good talks tonight. You'll have to watch it on the replay, my friend. You can't claim the Todd refractor because I don't think I'm selling it. All right. There's another Jim Valentino weird fucking thing that nobody wants, isn't it? Sci-fi. Oh, it's David Williams and Gary Martin. Scrub. What is this? Another combat. David Williams. More Spawny. Cool. And then finally we get some Wildcats. Here's a Wildcats team card. Gotta love a little Jim Lee action. And then finally we get the Shadowhawk. Another Shadowhawk card. His superpower once again is breaking people's backs and having AIDS. Cool superpower, bro. Uh Jesus, that's so mean. All right. So that was those packs. Thank you for watching that. We'll kill this camera because we're done showing that off. Oh, I do want to remind anybody that's in here. If you didn't see, this month's book club book is going to be God Country from Donny Cates, Image Comics. Jeff Shaw is the artist. You can pick this up. It's the complete story, and I can't wait to read it again because it'll be only the second time I'm reading it. Aldous Hodge, yeah, he was really good as Hawkman. Another, yeah, he had that kind of disposition where like I could see him being angry Al Simmons. He was angry Hawkman. Hawkman was pissed in that movie. I can honestly say I've never read a Hawkman book. And Hawkworld was one of those books I actually wanted to read. I think that's Timothy Truman. Um, but goddamn, he was good in that movie. Never understood. I don't think anybody understood Shadowhawk Bryce. Really. I don't even know if Jim Valentino understood Shadowhawk. I know it was WrestleMania weekend. It's really funny. I didn't realize it was WrestleMania weekend until Friday. And I had already planned to put that video out this morning, the one I put out this morning. Uh, so it was very serendipitous. Hopefully, y'all can watch this morning's video. I put a lot into it. It's one of my favorite videos. Sean already told me it's his favorite video I've ever done. And Sean's been part of this madness of Davengers for over a year now. And he's pretty honest. So I believe him. Yeah, totally, Lamar. I'm down to do no sun. Wow, I took your name and read Sun, and I made a new book called No Sun, Superman No Sun. Yeah, I want to do some Mark Miller anyway. Old Man Logan is definitely on the docket too, and Mark Miller is definitely, for me, one of my favorite comic book writers. Period. Uh, you know, and with good with good cause. The man has written some of the most iconic books and stories in the last 30 years. I mean, he's responsible for a lot of the MCU because of the Ultimates. So, uh yeah, totally down for that. um so yeah, I think this is a great sit down, guys. I'm probably gonna be done soon. I think I strained my voice a little too hard, but uh I think Care Bears should be on the comic club list. I think you should be on the do not fly list, you weirdo. Um, but this has been a really fun episode. I gotta say, this really turned me around today. I to be fully honest with you, this morning I was just like, man, this video is not fucking doing what I wanted to do, but you know, I really had a good time tonight. No, we'll close it out in a sec. But Superman No Sun multiverse story where Superman crash lands to Earth, but nobody ends up being an orphan and turns into super powered Batman. Holy shit! Did we just write a new great comic? Uh, how about this? How about this? Superman No Sun crash lands in Antarctica. No humans are around. He raises himself with a polar bear, never speaks, never becomes Superman, and just becomes a super polar bear. Superman No Sun. Anyway, yeah, so I appreciate everybody coming in tonight, everybody hanging out. This has been a really good one. Uh, I watched the replay on my preaching about inclusivity, diversity in comics because y'all got me on a good one without doing. You just were here. The cord got pulled, and I went. But I'll be back on Wednesday for West Coast Wednesday. If next Sunday, once again, we'll be here. Maybe I'll have a guest on. And he gets his powers from Coca-Cola. Green light. It's done. It's done. I appreciate you two, Big Me. So yeah, stick around for this week, and please watch the Sunday video. And if you have any wrestling fan friends, share that with them. But I'm really excited for Davenger Con. I hope that we all have a good time. I hope that everybody, drinks a whole bunch of Red Bull that weekend and coffee. It's going to be a long weekend, mostly for me because I'll be the one that's live the entire time with multiple people coming in and out. And God, I can't wait. I can't wait. It's going to be so much fun. Yeah. All right. Well, I think that'll call it for tonight. And I appreciate you all. Hit the like button on the way out. If you want to donate something for the raffle for the con, please get in touch, and we will arrange it logistically. But I'll bring you guys out the way I brought you in with the sweet, sweet sounds of my friend Bryce and the Done Messed Ups.
West Coast Avengers.